Were you alive when the war started? If yes, type, "Yes, I was alive" in the comments. Let's see who was there. After this video, watch 2 or 3 more long videos on our channel or on YouTube. You may receive good news in 2 days. If you do, come back and comment, "We receive good news." Like and share this video with your friends. Let's get started. What Commander Inagaki does not know is that inside that submarine a Texas-born commander named Samuel Davida is about to prove every rule of submarine warfare wrong. The destroyer bow slices through the South China Sea at 32 knots as Commander Inagaki looks through his binoculars at oil spreading across the water. His sonar crew reports metal sounds below a damaged submarine trying to escape, and he orders depth charges. With a tight attack spread, it is June 6, 1944. The Japanese combined fleet sits only 20 m away at Taui, the last great gathering of imperial sea power in Southeast Asia. 3 carriers, 5 battleships, 16 cruisers. The strongest guarded anchorage in the Pacific range to target is 1,500 yards, and closing fast orders come hard all ahead. Full depth charges ready. What neither commander knows is that this clash will shock Japanese leaders, delay their counterattack, change their sea plans, and help lead to defeat in the Battle of the Philippine Sea. 1 submarine, 1 band tactic, 5 Japanese destroyers lost in 4 days. This is the story of the USS Harder, the ghost submarine that changed naval war rules, while the enemy still followed old ones. By spring 1944, America's submarine war in the Pacific faces harsh truth. Japanese destroyers are learning fast. Numbers show it clearly. In 1943, U.S. submarines sink 335 Japanese cargo ships over 15 million tons. Japan needs to fight, but the price is high. 15 American submarines gone, over 1,000 sailors dead once sonar locks on survival drops below 40%. The Japanese Type 93 hydrophone finds submarines past 2 m. Their Type 95 depth charges carry 420 pounds of force, enough to crush hulls. At 350 feet, their captains follow a method turning each fight into a trap. Captain Hisashi Nido writes in a 1943 training note, "The submarine is a coward hiding below. Push him deep, cut his air and weight. Time favors the destroyer. The submarine must rise, and when he does, we will be there under no circumstances should a submarine hold course toward an attacking destroyer." Yet this rule is about to be questioned. American submarine doctrine agrees. The manual is clear: when attacked by enemy anti-submarine forces, the diving officer must take the boat to maximum safe depth, move away from danger, and make as little noise as possible. Translation: run away, dive deep, stay quiet. Survive between January and May 1944. This thinking cost the U.S. Navy 8 submarines in the Western Pacific. USS Scorpion is depth charged near Japan, losing 76 men. USS Greyback is hunted east of Okinawa, losing 80 souls. USS Trout is trapped by destroyer patterns near the Philippines. With all hands lost, submariners start calling destroyer fights the lottery, because survival depends more on luck than skill. Admiral Charles Lockwood, commander of the Pacific Submarine Force, calls an emergency meeting in Pearl Harbor on April 12, 1944. 15 captains pack into a locked briefing room to answer one question: how to survive destroyer attacks. Gentleman Lockwood says, pointing to a map marked with red S symbols for lost boats, "The Japanese are adapting faster than we are. Their destroyers work better together. Their depth charge attacks are stronger, and their captains chase contact for hours. If we missed it," says quietly, "look what happens when they charge." He draws a line on the chart. A destroyer coming at 30 knots creates a closing speed of about 35 at 500 yards. We have 90 seconds. Fire 3 torpedoes with a 2-degree spread. The room goes silent. That is illegal. Logan says, "If it fails, the inquiry board will destroy us." De nods yes, but if it works. He pauses. It changes everything. March 1944, USS Harder returns from her 4th patrol to Fremantle, Australia, the main submarine base for Southeast Asia. The report lands on the desk of Rear Admiral Ralph Christie. He reads it twice, then grabs the phone. "Get in here now." "No sir, I think I am." More desperate. 20 minutes later, they stand stiff at attention in Christie office, and the Admiral does not ask him to sit. Commander Christie begins, his voice low and dangerous. "Your patrol report says you closed to 900 yards of an escorted convoy before firing. Standard attack range is 500 yards. Minimum care to explain the escorts were alert, sir. Standard range would not work. I had to get inside their sonar pattern. You had to." Christie voice rises. "Commander, you risked a $6 million submarine, and 80 men just to break engagement. Rules: I sank 3 ships, sir, 15,000 tons. You are lucky you were not blown apart. Christie slams the report down. And there is more. Your torpedo officer says you practiced firing solutions for head-on destroyer attacks. Is that true? To pauses. Yes. Sir, have you lost your mind? Christie snaps. Throat shots are forbidden because they are suicide. They waste torpedoes and put the boat in maximum danger for little gain. With respect, sir, I disagree. The room explodes. Captain James Face steps forward. You disagree, Commander. That doctrine was written by men with decades of experience. It was written before the war cuts in, before we knew how deadly Japanese destroyers were, before we started losing boats this fast. So your answer is to charge destroyers head-on. Face says with open mockery. My answer is to stop being predictable. De says his Texas drawl turning sharp. Every submarine dives deep, goes quiet, and runs. The Japanese expect it. They adapted and turned our rules into a death sentence. And you think you're smarter than every commander in the Pacific? Christie asks. No, sir. I think I am more desperate. Silence fills the room. De keeps going. Admiral, I studied every loss report this year. Boats that followed doctrine died more often. USS Wahoo, USS Grayback, USS Trout. All dove deep. All got trapped. All died. And you think charging destroyers helps? Faye asks. I think surprising them might. Christie sits back studying in silence. That is the most dangerous idea I have ever heard. Let me be sure I understand. You want approval to try a move banned by every Navy rule, tried once before and failed, and likely to destroy your submarine and crew immediately. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Christie shakes his head. That is insane. He looks at Fifth, then back at as the ceiling fan spins in silence. At last, he speaks. Your next patrol is recon near Taui, where the Japanese combined fleet is anchored. Every major warship they have left intelligence wants. The photos, strength, and defenses. It is the most protected anchorage in the Pacific. You will work in tight waters, likely outnumbered 50-1 by escorts. He pauses and stresses his words. If and only if you face a destroyer where escape is impossible and normal doctrine would mean certain loss, then you may use your own judgment to defend your ship. To understands at once this is permission without permission. If the throat attack works, Christie can say to acted under extreme need. If it fails, Christie can deny approving it. Thank you, sir. Do not thank me, Commander. If you try this and fail, there will be nothing left for a court. And if you try it and when Christie gives a thin smile, then maybe we should listen to crazy Texans. Now back to the story, because what follows will shock the Japanese Navy. On June 6, 1944, the same day Allied troops hit Normandy, USS Harder enters the Sibuta Passage between Taui and Borneo. Her task is simple: scout the fleet, take photos, survive. At 0832 sonar reports fast screws bearing 270 range, 8,000 yards destroyer. Through the scope, De spots her Minazuki, a Mitsuki-class destroyer, guarding 3 tankers, heading to anchorage. Standard orders say avoid dive deep, wait. Instead, the command's course 270, all ahead, full periscope depth. His officer Lynch stares. Sir, that is straight at her. I know. De says she will find us in 3 minutes. That is a point at 0837 Minazuki sonar locks on. She turns hard, speeding up. Depth charges ready. Crew racing inside. Harder to watches as the destroyer bow wave swells closer. If his timing is wrong by even 5 seconds, Harder will be crushed. He calmly calls out ranges in his Texas drawl, like ordering food. Range 3,000 yards, 2,500, 2,000. Lynch urges, we should dive now. Not yet. He can now see sailors on the deck, see the gun mounts, see everything. Range 1,500 yards. Open outer doors. Tubes 1, 2, 3. The torpedo crew, soaked in sweat, opens the doors. 3 Mark 14 torpedoes ready. Set 10-foot depth, 46 knots high. Explosive. Minazuki captain spots the periscope, sees the angle, and feels the horror. He is charging a submarine that is not running, and he is moving too fast to turn. Fire 1, fire 2, fire 3. 3 torpedoes burst from Harder tubes, spinning steady. Locking depth, time to impact 92 seconds. Emergency dive 200 feet left, full rudder. Harder drops fast, tanks flooding as she slips onto the destroyer while torpedoes race in. At 80 knots, Minazuki captain sees white wakes converge. Screams for a turn, but a destroyer at 32 knots cannot turn fast enough. 2 torpedoes slam forward of the bridge. 1,000 pounds of torpex tear the bow clean off. Water floods in the keel, snaps. The ship breaks. 5 minutes later, Minazuki sinks stern first into 400 fathoms. Inside Harder, still diving, the crew hears metal rip bulkheads. Fail a ship dying, then silence. Rucker says sonar contact, lost target, destroyed. Cheers. Explode. Lynch grips to hand. Captain, that was impossible. speaks on the intercom crew well done rig. For silent running, 49 more Japanese ships are within 20 miles. And they heard everything the next days. Become legend June 70945 Harder meets destroyer Hyanami. Same move, same math, 3 torpedoes. From 1400 yards, Hyanami sinks in 7 minutes. Survivors say the submarine charged them June 8, 1632 destroyers to Nikris and Urukis hunt harder together. To lets them close to 2,000 yards, then fires for torpedoes at both targets at once to Nikris explodes and sinks Urukis damaged limps back to port June 900 20 hours. Harder meets 2 more destroyers, Kazagumo and Few. By now, Japanese commanders warned all ships about the submarine that attacks destroyers, but warnings do not change the geometry. 3 more torpedoes, Kazagumo sinks, Few escapes in 4 days. Harder sinks 5 Japanese destroyers, more kills than any other submarine in the war, over 8,000 tons of warships, nearly 1,500 Japanese sailors dead, yet the effect goes beyond tonnage. June 10, 1944, Japanese Naval Headquarters, Toi Admiral Sumu, Toyota commander of the combined fleet, receives reports of the destroyer losses. He reads them once, reads them again, then calls his staff. How many destroyers lost near Toi in 4 days? 5 confirmed sunks or 2 damaged. To how many submarines intelligence believes one? Sir, the room is silent. Explain how one American submarine sinks 5 destroyers in waters we control near our largest fleet. No one answers. And explain how it apparently attacked head on. Our reports say it did not evade a charge. A staff officer speaks. Admiral, that breaks all known American submarine rules. It's possible our captains misread angles in combat. 5 captains all misidentified the same thing. Toyota voice rises. 5 separate fights, all describing the same impossible tactic. He studies the map of Toi anchorage. There is a ghost here, a submarine that ignores doctrine attacks when it should flee and wins fights it should lose. He turns to his operations officer. Operation AGO is postponed. We will not sortie the fleet until this submarine is found and destroyed. We will not risk carriers and battleships against an enemy that can kill our escorts at will. The delay lasts 5 days, letting American carriers position perfectly for the Battle of the Philippines. See the decisive fight that destroys Japanese carrier air power and ends their Pacific reach, all because one submarine refused to run back at Fremantle. Harder patrol report arrives. Rear Admiral Christie reads the report in stunned silence. Then he picks up the phone to Pearl Harbor. Ralph Christie here. Get me Admiral Lockwood. Tell him we just rewrote the book on submarine warfare. Within weeks, every submarine captain in the Pacific receives a classified tactical bulletin. The down-the-throat attacks, once seen as high-risk, low-reward, have been used successfully by USS Harder with devastating effect against enemy anti-submarine forces. Commanding officers are urged to consider this tactic when facing destroyers under conditions where evasion is tactically poor. Translation: Samda's forbidden tactic is now official doctrine. We are at the 18th minute mark, and there is still one more incredible twist. If you have followed this far, consider hitting the like button. It tells YouTube to share this story with more history fans. Now the final chapter. August 5th, 1944, USS Harder leaves Fremantle for her 6th patrol. Commander has already earned the Navy Cross, 3 Presidential Unit citations, and Navy-wide fame as the destroyer killer. His crew jokes that Japanese destroyers now run from them, but in war luck runs out. August 24th, 1944. Dil Bay, Philippines. Harder, operating with USS Haken, USS Hato, in a coordinated wolf pack, meets a Japanese convoy at 0813. Harder attacks at 0847. She comes under counterattack from Minesweeper CD-22 and frigate Heber. The depth charge pattern is perfect. 18 charges explode around Harder's hull at 275 feet. The steel bends, seams break, seawater floods, and at crushing pressure, USS Harder is lost with all hands, 79 officers and men, including Commander Samuel David. He is 37 years old in Dallas, Texas. George receives the telegram every father fears. His son, who chose service over safety, who refused comfort to chase danger in the Pacific, is gone. But at the funeral, something extraordinary happens. Veteran submariners come from across the country to attend. One by one, they approach George with the same message: your son saved my life because of Sam's tactics. My crew came home. He showed us we did not have to be victims of destroyers. We could fight back. One captain, tears running, Tells George I was about to die a destroyer. Had me trapped then, I remembered what Sam did. I fired down the throat the destroyer, sank my crew, lived 27 men, saw their families again. Because your son had the courage to break the rules, posthumously Samuel David, receives the Medal of Honor. The citation reads for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty as commanding officer of USS Harder during her 5th and 6th war patrols, floodlighted by a bright moon, and revealed to an enemy destroyer escort, which bore down intending to attack. Commander dives fast to periscope depth waits for the pursuer to close, then opens fire, sending the target and every man aboard down in flames. With his 3rd torpedo, in another harsh test of his submarine strength, he surfaces again to draw a destroyer into range and strikes so fast and with such deadly aim that the enemy vanishes in a blinding blast. Fiercely aggressive commander shows again and again his brave fighting spirit, bold thinking, and deep duty, bringing great honor to himself and the United States Navy. Final count: USS Harder sinks 18 Japanese ships, totaling 54,200 tons, across 6 war patrols, 5 destroyers, plus many freighters and tankers. Most of all, she proves that new ideas matter more than fixed rules. Today, the down-the-throat attack remains a taught counter-move in submarine training at the U.S. Naval Submarine School in Groton, Connecticut. Modern attack submarines practice it in simulators. The scenario even carries the name at the Utah Veterans Cemetery and Memorial Park in Bluffdale, Utah. A monument honors USS Harder and her crew. The words read, "They dared when others doubted, they charged when doctrine said flee." They changed submarine warfare forever. In 2024, exactly 80 years after her loss, the wreck of USS Harder is found 3,000 feet down off the coast of Luzon, Philippines. She rests whole on the sea floor, her torpedo tubes still facing forward, her bow still aimed at the enemy, still attacking, still refusing to run, still defiant. Commander Samuel the never chased fame. His letters to his wife Edwina speak not of victories, but of worry for his crew, thoughts of their son Sam Jr. and quiet duty. In his last letter, written 3 days before the final patrol, he writes, "I do not know if what we do here will be remembered. I do not much care. What matters is the boys come home, that we give them a fighting chance, that we prove old rules are not always right. Sometimes you must write new ones." He never mailed that letter. It was found in his foot locker after the war, returned to his widow, with his other effects at the bottom in his own handwriting. One last line: "If you are going to fight, fight forward. If you're going to shoot, shoot straight. If you're going to change history, do not ask permission." First, the ghost submarine that fooled Japan's anti-submarine masters was not a ghost at all. It was one man who faced impossible odds, calculated the geometry, trusted his crew, and decided that sometimes the boldest tactic is the right one. 5 destroyers in 4 days, 1 forbidden shot. One Texas newspaper boy who rewrote the rules while the enemy still followed theirs. And somewhere 3,000 feet down in the Philippines Sea, USS Harder still stands her eternal watch, bow aimed at the enemy, torpedo tubes ready, still teaching us that innovation beats doctrine, still proving that one person willing to face the impossible can change history, still reminding us that the greatest victories often come from ideas everyone said would fail. These are the last words. Subscribe for more untold stories from history's most pivotal moments, and remember, the next time someone says something is impossible, ask yourself, did they run the geometry?